The polls have been all over the map, and the numbers in specific polls have also been all over the map, but it is safe to say that as of this week, as many as 8% of Americans say they plan to vote for Gary Johnson or Jill Stein for president. If you are one of them, especially if you are a millennial, give an old liberal 5 minutes to try to explain to you why you should not. I'm not going to try to sell you on Hillary Clinton. I am not going to invoke Ralph Nader and 2000. I am not going to wax nostalgic about nearly voting third party in 1980. I am not going to linger on how I want 3 or 4 major parties. What I am going to tell you is that all of these points, valid, invalid, or somewhere in between, cannot be the priority this election. Not my priority and not yours, especially not when your vote may decide whether it is Clinton or Trump who becomes president. This is really simple. If you vote for Gary Johnson or you vote for Jill Stein, you need to assume that it will be the last presidential vote you get to cast. I'm not being symbolic. I'm not being hyperbolic. I am pointing out simple realities. In every swing state, a vote for Johnson or Stein is one less for Hillary Clinton, and her victory over Donald Trump, as big a victory by as large and indisputable a margin as possible, is vital to your safety. It is necessary to make sure the country still exists 4 years from now, essential to make sure your right to vote still exists 1 year from now. The difference between Clinton and Trump is that stark. Whatever is wrong with Donald Trump emotionally or psychiatrically, the healthiest diagnosis would probably be extreme anger management problems. He has asked why this country does not use its nuclear weapons. He has repeatedly talked about putting his opponent in the election in prison. He gave a speech at Gettysburg last Saturday. At Gettysburg, Abraham Lincoln, where he said that his first 100 days as president would be like this. All about who would be prosecuted and who he was going to sue and which news organizations were corrupt. 3 times he has refused to promise that he will accept the election outcome if he loses. The one truly, timelessly, eternally noble part of this very flawed democracy of ours, the peaceful transition of power, and he is deliberately leaving doubt about it, encouraging his supporters to believe the election is or may be rigged, and even dog whistling about how they should go to the polling places in inner cities on Election Day and act as a kind of vigilante group against minority voters there. The man is a bigot. He has shown no commitment to free elections in this country. He is a bully with severe anger management problems combined with a desire to have and use nuclear weapons, and he's running not for president, but for dictator. Hillary Clinton? Strengths, weaknesses, our first woman president, all of it, and all of it nearly secondary to the fact that she is sane and she believes in our form of democracy. It's that simple. You vote for Stein or Johnson, and it is one less vote for Clinton, but it's also one less vote that Trump has to match. Because of how this election will play out in the swing states, your vote for Stein or Johnson might as well be a vote for Trump. It will have the same effect. I read not long ago 2 pieces at Vox by a pair of 21-year-old voters, one for Johnson, one for Stein. One part of each piece, twin mirror images of dissent, jumped out at me. This is from the Stein voter. His name is Sean Shossow, a student at Simpson College in Iowa. His vote, he writes, is a deliberate stand against the 2-party system. And this is from the Johnson voter, Stephanie Page, who's at Ohio State. I understand that Johnson has little to no chance of becoming president, but I need to use my voice to tell our government that we need to change the way things are done. We need to change the way things are done. No argument here. My generation failed at it. You're getting your chance. A deliberate stand against the 2-party system. Amen. And in any other election, Bush Gore or Obama McCain, or if this one had been Bush Clinton, I would say enjoy. But there is an assumption in both these statements. We need to change the way things are done, a deliberate stand against the 2-party system. Why do you assume that if you get rid of the 2-party system, the only option then is a 3-party system, or 4, or 5? What if it's 1? What if you get your wish? Change the way things are done. No more 2-party system. And you instead get a 1-party system. What if you vote Johnson or Stein and Trump gets elected? What about this Trump guy suggests that he cares about what happens after he is elected? Why are you so sure that even this democracy can withstand a crazy man with the authoritarian style of a 1930s dictator and a campaign undertone of putting his opponent in prison? What makes you think he is not going to put his opponent in prison? Or put his other opponents in prison, or the media in prison, or Muslims, or next, the LGBTQ community. Who knows? Or put you in prison. People tell me to compromise and vote for the lesser of two evils, the Stein voter, Mr. Shassow, also wrote, but I cannot compromise when it comes to my beliefs, especially when they involve human rights and systemic oppression. The point this year is not, are you compromising your beliefs? The point this year is that you could wind up electing a president who will compromise your beliefs for you and who will make your complaints now about human rights or oppression or the two-party system look to you in retrospect like a quick dance in the spring rain. You want to change our system? Please do. My generation did fail. If you fail on November 8th and Trump gets elected, nobody's going to pull you or me out of it. Change all this at the midterms. Do it in the state legislatures. Do it in 2020. The guy who wants to change all this right now, who you may help to become president, has no interest in human rights, especially not yours. You want more, he wants less. Although I'm certain systemic oppression sounds pretty good to him. If you want to vote for Trump, I can't stop you. Nobody can. Just remember, though, if you are voting for Jill Stein or Gary Johnson, you are also voting for this man, Trump. That's the closer. I'm Keith Olbermann. Watch this space.